It's time for the patented Awesomenauts tier list. And I don't think I'll do this in any particular order. I just want to put all the characters on a list on power. So I'm going to start with things that are obvious. Where is he? Yoolip. Yeah. Yoolip sucks. It's plain and simple. The only thing the Dino into Gaze combo, it doesn't work like 99% of the time. The only thing that's really good about him is when you hit a minion, you can spawn a health pack. That's nice. And the gaze stun. Like you can gaze somebody and your team can melt them. Uh, oh yeah, this is gonna be from a solo queue perspective as well. Maybe Yoolip stun is more better in a group, but yeah. So who else is really bad? Um, X isn't that good in solo queue. I think he's very good when you have a group who can capitalize on swaps. Yeah, I'll probably say X is about D tier. I definitely think Yoolip is by far the worst. I think X is definitely better than Yoolip. Just because his auto attack is infinitely better. He does a similar job though. He can heal and he can do a displacement with his psionic bond. Um, the thing is, he doesn't, he's just like an auto attack bot, you know? Refract, you often don't need to use it unless there's like heavy damage coming in. And swaps can be a bit weird. Oftentimes you don't use your swap because they might not be your teammate. Teammates might not be around you. That happens fairly frequently, and it increases the cooldown. It's a bit weird. So I think X is pretty low down there. Maybe Genji? I think cocoons are definitely more powerful than displacement. Eh, yeah, probably Genji as well in D tier. Again, kind of similar to Ix, except his kit is a bit better. The shield is like guaranteed value in a kind of grouped fight. And Cocoon, I think you can say that Cocoon is a bit better than the Bond because you can just pop all your abilities the second that Cocoon opens, which is nice. Um, as a, his auto attack is maybe a bit worse than X's, maybe a bit better. It's pretty negligible. Um, what else? What else? His movement can be quite tricky, as in he can just float above you, and he can be a pain in the ass if you're a melee champ. Same thing with X though. All right, who else isn't very good? Hmm. Okay, I'll go look at who's really good. I think Lonestar is crazy broken. He literally he just pushes turrets in and does lots of damage to them with ease. You can clear very quickly because your skills all have low cooldowns, like rubber dynamite, less cooldown on your bull and more health on your bull. You can just hit turrets constantly and just chip them down. You don't even need kills to win the game. You just have Lonestar hit turrets. You know? He has decent survivability as well with his triple jump, and he has a lifesteal if you buy that. You have lifesteal and pills. He can be decently survivable. So I think he's just crazy because he just wins games by hitting turrets. Like I can't tell you how many games I've played where our team is farming. We're getting so many kills, so many frags, but it doesn't matter because Lone Star's just smacking away at our turrets. And we lose, even though we have like a 2 level advantage, like we have like 4 or 5 kills above them. It doesn't matter because Lonestar just melted the turrets. Also, he's incredibly powerful with someone else, like other heroes who have strong push. It makes his push crazy. Like you can just melt turrets. Say you have a Lonestar and a Chucho, you can just melt turrets. A Lonestar and a Gnaw Weedlings, you can just destroy turrets really rapidly with stuff like that. It's pretty crazy. Like Derpl, he can mow down turrets pretty quickly. Pretty sure Ted with his stim pack can too. Alright, who else is really powerful? Like Frog and Dizzy have got to be at least up there. Is Frog A or S? I don't know, I don't know. I think the power of Frog is the fact that you can just dash into someone and tornado them and melt them pretty efficiently. Uh, you can escape from a lot of stuff because with your dash you have the invulnerability. So you're really hard to lock down and kill. The damage is pretty easy to apply. There is some nuance with hammer pants and twister tweeters, and Arbe is really jank. The reflect projectiles upgrade for the tornado, it's really jank. So yeah, that's about Frog. Oh, I was gonna talk about Dizzy. Is Dizzy stronger than Frog? I think Dizzy. I mean, people call Dizzy brain dead, but I think Dizzy is harder than Frog because of the just simply she has no invulnerability on her dashes, so she can get chunked during her dashes. But she has way more mobility, I think. And Frog already has high mobility. And our clone is a really big pain in the ass. It feels like it has a larger hitbox than it actually does, you know? Um, I don't know. I don't know if these are A or S. Maybe like A plus? Because if you pick Lonestar, you can pick Lonestar on every map and have high impact. Regardless of whether you're playing really well or really poorly. I think the same can be said for Frog. I mean, you can just chase down kills really easily with Dash. Same thing with Dizzy. You can chase down kills very well. You have some insane damage with your dashes and oh, what's it called? Graffiti Artist? Where you can dash all attack, dash all attack, dash all attack, and really chunk people up hard. I don't know where to put these guys. I'm gonna keep them in A for now. I might move them later. Alright. Who else is really good? I'm trying to think. I think Ted is probably A tier. I mean, his damage is ludicrous. His airstrike is immensely powerful. You think on certain maps like Starstorm, his airstrike just gives you so much control of the map early game, especially if you get the uh, what's it? The airstrike upgrade where you can go. It's like Atlas's phone number, whatever. It goes both down and up. The airstrike. Even without that, it's just really oppressive sometimes to play against Ted. But if you dive him, he can get killed quite quickly. But again, you have to be careful because he can melt you as well. Um, so I think Ted is like Rocco on steroids, to be honest. They have the same idea, you know, stay at range and hit people for high damage, but Ted is just infinitely better. And he can get up and close and personal with a shotgun. Like dip in for a shotgun shot, switch to machine gun, hit the snipe. The snipe is fucking broken. It's honestly crazy. You can just force people away from areas with snipe. It's really powerful. Okay. What next? What next? Um. Skolldir, maybe? I think he's pretty good. He's pretty difficult, though. Ted's pretty difficult as well. Problem is Skull isn't very good. Well, isn't he's not bad on certain maps. He's just a bit worse on certain maps. I feel like with these heroes, you never really have a bad map where they're unplayable, you know? With Skolldir, you do have some maps which, like Ribbit, I feel like he's not as good. Because there's lots of areas where throws can get caught on. And if you get, well, in the top turret, if you get thrown into a bottom turret, you can jump up and try and escape pretty easily. But with a top turret, I guess it's a bit better. But it's just that his dynamite has less place to go, and he has like less options on where to move. I do think he's really powerful because he can just kill people, hit people with the throw, like really throw people into a turret, get kills by himself by landing his punches. Snare quick is really powerful. Um, yeah. So you have punches, Snare quick's powerful. Normal quick does decent AoE. Um, he's pretty difficult to play because you really need to be in control with his movement, and you really need to know when do I go in, when do I pull out, or else you're just not gonna have a good time. You play too aggressive, you'll die too much many times. You play too passive, and you just won't do anything. Ugh, that's cool. I think with A and S, they need to be characters where if you play them well, you can just win the game. Like a frog, like all these characters can just go insane and just start winning. Lonestar can just win the game without you needing to just play really well. You can just hit turrets. Okay. I might as well go for Leon. Leon, like, I think his tongue is really good displacement. It's also pretty easy displacement to hit, you know? It's fast. The tongue it's quite fast. And you can do it from cloak as well, which is useful. I think the cheese and garlic mints, where you get the silence on the tongue, is really good. I don't know if he's A though. I feel like he's a little bit lacking, just in like damage, and that he has some matchups that are kinda bad. I guess that like I definitely think he's really powerful, especially against when teams aren't very coordinated and they're all spread out all over the place, where you can kind of isolate the fight with like a squishy ranger who might not have much mobility. Something like Rocco. I don't think you gotta be careful with Ted. Voltar. Hellion Lonestar. He could probably beat in a 1v1. Raelynn as well. He could beat by himself pretty easily. I definitely think the displacement is good, but I don't know. It's very team dependent. You know, sometimes you don't get to go off with a law. And his dad, like in team fights, he's not. If you miss a tongue as Leon, you pretty much do nothing. in a fight with everyone in it. But if you hit the tongue, it can be very impactful. I think he's too volatile to be A. I think he's maybe like an A minus or something. He's really on the cusp of being quite high rate, but I just think he's too volatile. Sometimes you'll have these very easy farming games, and other times you feel like you'll have no impact because the teams you're fighting is very grouped up. Maybe they're a 2 stack or 3 stack, and they know what they're doing. They're playing champions that have high punish, or they can chase you very well, or CC you. Like maybe even something like a Swiggins. Like trying to fight a Derpl is pretty annoying as Leon. Because you just, if he's sieged up, you just get killed. The traps are a pain in the ass. Um, yeah, so that's what I feel. Max. Max is pretty weird. I think slow-mo bubble is really powerful if you have somebody who can capitalize on it. Like, if you slow-mo bubble somebody, Skolldir can land a throw, or Ted gets an airstrike, or Swiggins lands a hook, or Raelynn lands a snipe, or whatever. It can be really powerful for that. Floodlights does lots of damage, but it can be quite tricky to hit the full thing. Um, it's definitely really good on the Aguilion, I think it's called, the map with the invisible eye on it, where during the bottom lane people can get trapped and just get melted. Um, like as Max, you're not really gonna get kills by yourself, because you need the opponent to fuck up quite badly if you're gonna actually get a kill. You need your teammates to kind of create openings for you, or you just annoy people with some floodlight. Annoy people with your auto attack and just flying around them, or hitting them with a little bit of your floodlights. So I don't think he's A or S. I think he's a solid B tier. He does high damage. His slow-mo shot has pretty good utility as well. It can be very helpful. And other knots landing their skill shots. Um, Penny? How do I feel about Penny? I think she's probably a step above something. Maybe not. It's weird because Penny's really skill dependent. I think if you're a good Penny, you can be here or maybe even here. Sometimes I've fought Pennies and it almost feels unfair what they're allowed to do. Um, Other times, pennies just aren't very good. It's a very skill dependent character. It's like those like Skolldir and Ted are kind of skill dependent too. So I'm not sure. Pulse is really powerful especially if you have someone to follow up, like a Vinnie Spike dive, or pretty much any skill shot in the game that can just burst you. Like even like Ayla I, like any follow up, Coco lightning ball, frog dash, like a pulse into an airstrike, or a pulse into like a tongue or anything. Her pounce is pretty good too. You can knock people back into turrets, which isn't always reliable, but it's very impactful. I do think Fox is a why? Why? What makes Penny Fox better than Leon? I think it's you have that ceiling just to be able to really melt people. You have better mobility, and do you have better damage? I think you do. It's a bit more tricky though. I don't know. You have some great mobility. You can yeah, it's easier to set up your own kills as Penny Fox than it is as Leon. It's not that you can't get your own kills, but you really need to tongue and hit every auto attack and not get CC'd away or juked. Whereas Fox, you just need to hit your abilities, I suppose. Hit a pulse, hit pounce, and that's a good chunk of damage. Alright. Voltar. I think Voltar is not very good in solo queue. Not. I just don't think so. Like D. What does Voltar bring to the table? I think Voltar is really powerful if you combine him with certain champions. Like Voltar Derpl is fucking annoying to fight against because Derpl can go in, do whatever the fuck he wants, and get out and get healed up. And that can be really frustrating to deal with, but I don't think it's particularly powerful. Like, just getting your characters in, getting like two characters in, quick into the fight quicker, having them have less downtime. Again, it depends. You kind of bring yourself, you're more dependent on what other people do. Like, as Voltar, you're going to be more successful if your teammates are good. And if your teammates are good, you probably should just be playing something where you can play well and further snowball. You can do damage Voltar, which I think is probably a bit easier to play. But like, if you're playing damage Voltar, why wouldn't you play literally any other class or not that does damage anyway? Like, if you're playing Voltar, you know, I want to do damage at range. Like, why aren't you playing Ted? Why aren't you playing Raelynn? Why aren't you playing Hell, Rocco, Commander Rocket, Skree? There's lots of other choices which deal damage at range that are, I think, a bit better than what Voltar does. Snork Gunk. I honestly have not played much of Snork Gunk. I do think he's solid. I don't think he's crazy. I don't think he's bad. On 1v1s, like, he can be quite deadly. Genuinely. He can get close to you, hit you with all his shells, and it just melts you. I think maybe C. He can really melt you. But in like 2v1s, if he dives in, the damage could be split across multiple characters, and that's worse. The damage isn't like it isn't as directable. Like as Frog, if you dash into someone, they get hit. As Snork Gunk, you activate the shells, they spin around. You can't really choose which knot they hit if there's multiple knots around you, which, you know, there usually is in some. Like the higher you climb, people are gonna play more close together, so e each like individual teammate can pound together. I think he's definitely has some decent power, and yeah, I just gotta say about that. He has decent power. He's pretty powerful in like a 1v1 if he hits his stuff, of course. Deadlift. Deadlift in solo queue. I think he's powerful. His shield is really, really good. I think probably the highest support in like, you know, think air quotes character there is. Maybe B actually, because you can allow your team to be way more aggressive. You know, your team can go giga deep if you have a deadlift jump in with his shield. You can like dive a tower to finish off an opponent that's running away with deadlift way easier. Whereas, you know, it might have been a 1-for-1 otherwise. You came out on top. So I think he's a B. He doesn't have lots of damage, but he has excellent chunk. And he can't get his own kills, but he really sets other people up for kills whilst, you know, whilst being really chunky, you know? With things like Genji and Voltar, you're pretty frail. If you get caught out as deadlift, you can walk it off. You can pounce away with your charge. You can shield up, or hell, you can just run through because you have lots of health. If you get caught out as well, if it's X, you do have your refract. But if you get caught out as Genji and Voltar, you're probably dead. Same thing with Yoolip. You have some more leeway with deadlift. Okay, Vinnie and Spike. Maybe C? I don't think he's quite B. Because you basically only have one mechanic, and that's to dash into people. Often on times, Smoke Cloud doesn't do shit. Because you can have like this mental image of where people are and where people are probably going since when you get blinded. Um, but the dash is really high damage. It makes him pretty good at just kind of chunking people. The problem is you're never going to just downright kill somebody with a dash by itself. Even if you have like chrome files, the extra spikes, like what is it called? Unicorn head or something? I fucking forgot. I don't think you can kill somebody. Maybe you can if they're like dizzy or something. Um but you probably want the silence on your dive anyway. Uh, hmm. So yeah, his damage is really high. He can kind of create kills with if you have the antique machine gun. You can dive into somebody, hit them for like 700, and your teammates can have a go at him. And you can finish off people who are low health, and it can, you know, be very powerful. So I think C is a good place. On the, I think the advantages over Snork Gunk, I think he might be a little bit better. Where I'm not marking them, like that. I might as well. I think he's a bit better than Snork Gunk because his dash can hit multiple people. I suppose you do have some cheese with his invisibility upgrade on his smoke cloud. All right, Jimmy. I think Jimmy is probably better than this. Like I think he's at least B. I wouldn't give him anything lower than a B. He can create lots of kills. He can squish people into turrets. He can hit people behind turrets with safety pins, which is like a mandatory upgrade. He does really good damage. Like maybe he's even A. Maybe he's even A. You know? I think he's very powerful with his ganking potential. If you catch him off guard, he can just dash and try and escape. Um, maybe he is A. You know? I don't know. Well, why wouldn't he? Why isn't he as good as those characters? Well, because like you have to hit a pin to like kill somebody by yourself. Mm, which is a bit trickier than just hitting a dash, just dashing through someone and hitting a clone, just hitting an airstrike, hitting a throw. You have to hit a pin and like pin them into the turret. Then you have to finish. Maybe he is A. Oh fuck it, I'll put him in A. I think he's pretty comparable to the strength of these characters. Skree. Alright, where am I gonna put Skree? His damage can be really bursty. But again, if he gets caught off guard, he's kind of fucked. His auto attack is really good as well. Kind of like Max, but he is less. Yeah, I think he is about comparable to Max. Instead of slow mo shot, he has his totem, which can block people off, or it can, block a shot, block a skill shot, even like block Ksenia knives, block a sticky bomb, block a snipe, you know. Um, his auto attack just kind of annoys people to death, and it also you can't really escape it. It's easy as shit to aim. His saw does massive damage, and you can deny area with it pretty well. Yeah, so I think he's up there. Smiles. I mean, he has really good CC, which enables a lot of kills, and I think I think he's A. Maybe there's a little bloat between A and gonna be in the A tier. I think the rest of these guys are pretty solid, but I don't think they're quite A. I mean, probably Swiggins and stuff. But Smiles. The hook, just really powerful CC. You can drag people across the map, drag them into bad areas, drag them into Yuri mines, Derpl traps, all that sort of stuff. Just drag them into your turret. And you can also hit them away with your tail, which is pretty cool as well. So no matter whether you need to hit your opponent into something or you need to drag them away from something, you can do that as Smiles. He has really good clear with Inscribed Lighter because he can put the fire on the ground and just torch droids really quickly. He's pretty chunky as well, which is good. Um, yeah, I think he's just A because of his hook. Qi'tara. I don't know how to feel about Qi'tara. She does good damage, good damage. I don't think she does crazy damage. Maybe if you hit the whole 7-star. But I think what makes her not as good as like Leon or Frog or Penny. It's just because she's very difficult. Like if you fuck up your teleport, you're dead. You know, it's very easy to just kind of feed as Qi'tara, I found. Um, so maybe C, she can really melt people. It's pretty crazy. She isn't higher because it's easy to just kind of die. You need to play very well. Yeah, but the same can be said for things like Skolldir. No, if you fuck up a throw with Skolldir, well, yeah, sometimes you do die. I don't know. I don't know. I think Dot is kind of a meme. I think it's not as good as just raw damage. Like seeing your opponent's bar fill with purple, and then they walk off screen, and then they press taunt, and they're not dead. That sucks ass. So I don't think she's as good as other kind of like nuker slash burster nods. Derpl. I fucking hate playing against Derpl. I really don't like playing Derpls. But is he broken? Sometimes it feels like you're playing against a Derpl and it's broken. I think Derpl's placing on a tier list is really dependent on what map you're playing and what knot you're playing. If you're playing like a, a melee knot, it can be a pain in the ass trying to get up close and personal to Derpl. If you have low damage too, it's just not very fun. Like what the fuck is uh like when yeah. I feel like on maps like Starstorm and Ribbit where he can really control the map with his traps, kinda like Yuri, he's pretty strong. But I don't think he's ludicrously overpowered. Because Derpl doesn't get kills unless you get caught in a trap. Yeah, and he's there to punish you. You might get knocked into a trap by like a pounce, a throw, a tongue, or whatever. You might get knocked into one of those, but you can't rely on that. You know? I think he's solid. Is he better than the? I don't think so. I think by himself, the reason why I feel like Derpl is really strong is because when you combine him with certain heroes or nods, he just becomes really fucking annoying to deal with. Like Derpl Voltar, wait, yeah, Derpl Voltar, Derpl X, Derpl Genji. You get stuck in a cocoon, he puts a trap on you and just fucks you. Uh, Derpl Smiles. It feels like you're walking on eggshells. It sucks. But by himself, I don't think he's crazy powerful. If all three of your team gang up on him and he doesn't have a nuke sent out to blow up, or you can tank the nuke with like a deadlift shield or whatever, with just chunk. I don't think he's that scary. He's fucking annoying to play against, I find, but not crazy. Chucho. I think Chucho is really good. I think he's definitely at least a B. Probably higher. Sticky Bomb is actually a lot pretty easy to hit, especially with blackmail. Bike is really good at hitting down turrets, kind of the same way Lonestar is. I gotta put him in A. I think you have a lot of kind of abilities you have to master because you have the charge on his bike and then you have the exhaust on his bike, which apply dot, and you can do that and have value. And it's just raw damage is damn solid. He can chase you down with his boosters as well. He has good push. I mean, he's just solid. A solid range damage dealer. The only downside is, like, if people get your bike, you can be kind of screwed. Like, if people delete your bike, you can be in a bit of a fucking problem. Ksenia. Honestly, I don't see much Ksenias, if I'm honest. When I do see them, eh, eh, she's probably about the same strength as like a Leon or something. Maybe a bit weaker? But what does she have going through her? She has decent damage with her knives and her melee hits. You do have to hit your knives, and you do need that ability, which gives you an extra knife on the third melee, I feel. Her invisibility is pretty good because you get the silence at the end of it, which is always nice. But she doesn't have that displacement that Leon has, too. And she doesn't have immense damage, you know? She has good damage, but it's not like it's not even like Qi'tara damage. Or like even Snork Gunk probably does more damage than Qi'tara. I think I'll put her C. I think she's very fun to play, but I don't think she's really, really powerful. Yeah, I think C is a good spot. Sentry. I think Sentry's really good. Black Hole is very powerful, and usually your team is gonna follow up with a Black Hole, but not always. The teleburst can do damage too. You can apply a silence with that, and silence is probably one of the strongest debuffs. His all attack is crazy good as well. You can stack it up. You can be really fucking annoying with it. Um, so yeah, I think he's A. just because his abilities are really impactful. He's one of the couple few heroes who can you can like base a lot because you can deploy your beacon, base, get your health back, teleport back in. That's pretty nice. Um, used to be, I think maybe in the older patches, where his teleport beacon lasted forever, maybe he would even be an S because you could just constantly lock down a little area, like a hidden bush, and you could constantly lock that down. But now that it has a cooldown, I think he's A. I think he's a solid pick, even if you can't really you can't finish people off by yourself. You can't finish off like a Clunk or a even a Skolldir, or like more chunky heroes by yourself. But you can definitely, have high impact. Swiggins. Oh, Swiggins is good too, just because his CC is really good. It's risky though, because you can kind of get melted. We're having a lot of bloat in the A section. I feel like, hook, attack, throw out your anchor, and, a hero's chunked to like half their health. Your teammates can hop on them pretty easily as well. That's a problem with Swiggins, I feel like. Against a lot of the time, you can hit these hooks and you can hit these combos, but it doesn't mean shit if your team doesn't go on them. Same thing with Sentry. Maybe Sentry's worse? I don't think Black Hole, you can Black Hole two people and just win the game though. Or have a serious advantage. I think they're still up there. You have good burst as Swiggins. Um, yeah, you just dive in, hit your shit, and you roll. It's great. Scoop. I don't think Scoop is that good. I mean, he's really chunky. Again, like Deadlift. His healing is really good. He can actually do a sizable amount of damage with the upgrade that has like the spinning swords. Uh, his hammer, a snare is nice too. Again, I don't think you're gonna outright destroy somebody as Scoop. You're not like, oh shit, the Scoop's here. I'm gonna lose all my HP and just get smoked. No, Scoop will do like half your bar usually, and it can be really annoying because he just doesn't die. Similarly to Deadlift, I think he's probably up there in B. Like, what makes him better than these champs in C tier? That's what I'm thinking. Oh, his heal, his sustain, the ability to hit like a big snare on someone. It's valuable. I'd say. Nibbs. Would I say Nibbs is D tier? Maybe. Would I say Nibbs is D tier? The thing is, Nibbs relies kind of on setup to get her kills. Like, you have to combine Nibbs with some sort of stun or CC for her to be very effective, very annoying, very powerful. By herself, she's not that powerful if she doesn't have people uh, giving her openings. She does do metric shit tons of damage with her fire breath and dot fireballs. So, she's probably C. Yeah, she's probably C. Her damage is crazy high. She can't really get kills by herself, though. That's the problem. Because if you go in with the teleport and you do your fire breath, it's very easy to just get smoked because you can't escape. And if you fireball and use your orb to escape, you can't. People can just run away because they're not getting pulled in by the orb or slowed or whatever. Ayla. I honestly think Ayla's fucking nutty. Like, even if Ayla makes a mistake, she just does so much fucking damage. If she makes a mistake and fucks up, she loses all her health, she can just hit you with an eye for like a million damage and possibly kill you, you know? Is she ass though? Why would she be ass? Does she utterly like pound people? Yeah, you can utterly pound people with the amount of damage that Ayla can do. She's pretty easy. She's not like Ted or Skolldir or Penny difficulty. Or like Yuri or Sentry. I don't think Sentry is that difficult actually. Um, Definitely I'd say above B tier at least. I think we'll stick her in A for now because she just melts people. She actually gets a, I think she gets like a shield or something. She gets like buffed when she's around people, multiple enemies, which is great. She can really just kill you, hit an eye, and just auto attack rage, or just keep holding rage and just kill you as you're slowed from the eye. So yeah, at least we're good. No, ugh, no. Gnaw is more annoying than powerful because, as I've said before, I don't think damage over time is really that bad. Because there's lots of lifesteal. Pretty much all characters have lifesteal, and all characters can buy regen, which really hurts the adults. Um, I think the way you need to play Gnaw is you need to hit people with the weedlings. You need to plant the weedlings on people and hit the big damage. Like, if it isn't for the fact that Gnaw can just spit, plant a lot of weedlings, and, like, milk your tower dry of all its health in, like, half a second, I don't know, he'd probably be D. I really don't feel like, well, why are you playing Gnaw? Are there melee Gnaws that are better? Yeah, I suppose. Like, Skolldir has more impact and is better than Gnaw. I'm trying to think of more melee Gnaws that are just better. I suppose Ayla fulfills a kind of a similar role to Gnaw. You want to go in. Eh, yeah, I think Ayla is kind of a close damage dealer too. Leon is somewhat similar to Gnaw. Like, why would I play Gnaw? I feel like he doesn't really do much of anything. Besides planting on people for massive damage and shredding turrets, that's all he really can do. So he's probably C. I don't think he's as bad as these guys. Not saying that they're bad, that these characters are bad. They can be quite, especially Ix and Genji, can be definitely very useful when even you have one teammate. So C he is. Yuri, again, I don't like fighting Yuri. He's a pain in the ass to fight. I feel like he's really difficult and probably the hardest class to play in solo queue, if I'm honest. Just because you will get punished super hard if you have bad positioning. Like if you don't, because he's kind of slow, you get punished hard for bad positioning. Mines, I'd say they're better than Derpl traps. Because they can get kills and they can be used for clearing and you can face mine and all that. At least deterring people from areas. So, where on the tier list? Like as Yuri, can you win games? Yeah, you absolutely can. You have like a like you're not gonna get frags as Yuri. That's the thing. You're not gonna just kill people as Yuri unless they fuck up and do something kind of stupid. Your team really needs to CC them into your mines, and the mines are more used as like area denial. You're not gonna run into them, but they stop people from accessing certain rotations or allowing people to maneuver, kind of cramping their style a bit. That's kind of what the job of Yuri is, cramping people's style. Bubble is really good because it speeds your teammates up a bit and it can slow enemies down. It allows your teammate to like chase really well. And it allows you an escape tool as well. So I think maybe he's B, maybe he's A. Like the amount of control you can get as Yuri, you can just control the entire game, the flow of the game as Yuri. Um, why is he better than Derpl? Why do I think Yuri is better than Derpl? Probably because of Bubble, to be honest. If you have a team that can really utilize Bubble well, like I don't know, you kill a dude and then you flash forward into a turret, you can just melt that turret. It's really good. Being able to slow people down, allowing them, same thing as Max, allowing people to hit their skill shots easier. And really just being annoying and making people play your game as Yuri is pretty useful. Same thing, I think these characters have the ability to just, well, at least they annoy me. Because they slow down the game kind of a fair bit with their traps. Coco. I mean, Coco's weird. Like, Blaze is, I think Blaze is pretty solid. Like, base Blaze kind of sucks, but if you get, like, the speed upgrade, Silver Surfer, I think, it's a nice upgrade. I mean, you can initiate, you can disengage with it. The thing is, if you miss your lightning ball in a fight, you don't really do jack shit other than hit lightning balls. I think C. I think she'd be worse if knockback ball wasn't a thing. Knockback ball fucks me up so goddamn much because it kind of what allows Coco to just have kills. You know, like as you can hit people with a lightning ball and it can do a good chunk of damage, but then they can back up and live. But if you hit someone with a lightning ball, they go flying and your teammates can finish them off. Maybe a B. Maybe a B. Eh, I don't know. Like a B or a C, really. I don't think she's crazy powerful, but her ball does do good damage. Her all attack is solid. It's nothing to write home about. It does pretty good damage, but it's not crazy. It's not crazy. Um, like maybe like a B minus or C plus for her. I'll put her in B for now, and I might have a little shuffle later. Might bring some characters up there, maybe bring some characters down here. Who knows? Clunk. Clunk is, I think Clunk is powerful at first. Snare bite into explode does shit tons of damage. Really good if you have some initiation, but his primary job is, I think, punishing mistakes. Like someone overextends and gets greedy, you bite them and explode them. You know, you can, like you have AI station where there's the fire. You can Charger explode, drop down. It's really risky though. I think Clunk is a risky character. You know, sometimes if you get caught out, you're kind of fucked, even with your high health. But you can really terrorize with Clunk. I think he is a B, like pretty more resoundingly than Coco. His burst is really good. Um, he has decent sustain. His chip, his like turret damage and pushing is actually a lot better than you'd think. You know, he does high damage to turrets actually with his auto attack. Raelynn, ugh, Raelynn. I think Raelynn is good, but not that good. I think it depends. Snipe, honestly, it isn't very good, I don't think. Sometimes snipe, you know, you can snipe and hit someone and kill them and like, wow, that's cool, but sometimes you snipe and you get absolutely ass blasted because you sniped at the wrong time and people jump on you and you're dead, you know? So, it's a bit weird. I think Time Rift and her auto attack are definitely very good. You can have really high damage with your auto attack, and you can have Pierce with Alien Hand and high damage with Receding Ponytail. Her Time Rift is so fucking good because you can spawn a droid or you can have it really slow people heavily. You have the one where you deploy the Time Rift and you get extra damage on your next shot. That's really crazy sometimes. I think she's at least C. I don't know if she's B though. That's the thing. Because it's very easy to just get caught out. Um, maybe she's B. I don't know really. Like Leon has tongue, Max Rift has focus. I guess you have Time Rift, Shield, so like Saw, Sustain, Punishing Mistakes, Bubble, and Mine's being a pain in the ass to deal with. The Knockback Ball. Time Rift? Is Time Rift on the same level as that? Because you can easily just fuck up Time Rift or spam it. I think Time Rift is kind of inconsistent. I mean, sometimes you throw it and you melt through people, but other times you throw it and it doesn't really do much. You can just drop it and people disengage, or you know, you miss it, you know, or you snipe and people can just get out of dodge, or they can jump on you. You know, I think she's C. There's lots of opportunities where you can just fuck up and die. Rocket. Rocket is kind of like a almost kind of a low impact champion. I feel like you poke people, you poke people, you poke people, but you never really kill anyone outright. I think he can be very annoying. I'm very good at putting, just kind of chipping away at people. He can push turrets well with his rockets. Um, this trap is pretty solid as well. It's like almost like a Skree saw, but without the initial damage. So it's pretty good. And his rocket, his big rocket he can fire, it has a good. You can escape with it, which is nice. It gives you a good escape option. So if you get caught off guard, I think he's like C because he doesn't really like melt. You know, you need to continuously hit shots over and over again in order to do something. I think he has like no defining like X factor that makes him really powerful. So yeah, I'm putting him in C. Rocco. I feel like Rocco has played lots, and honestly, he just isn't very good. I mean, why would you play Rocco when you could play literally like, oh, I could play Ted, I could play Chucho, I could play Skree, I could play even something like Max, you know? Hell, even I can play Rocket. Is honestly, I'd say a bit more impactful than Rocco. Well, Rocco has more impact, but I feel like Rocket is just better. Is Rocco D? It's just that he's too fragile. Like, you hop on him, and let's say Revengeance is up, well, you can kind of just run away. The slow is not that bad, you know? It's not that hard to deal with the slow. If he doesn't have Revengeance up, he's dead. He's very fun to play, and I like him, but I don't think he's good. I feel like he does good damage, but there's other champions that do good damage and can do something else. Even Ksenia, she has silence and does good damage. She has invisibility, has good damage. What does Rocco have? Some slow. Like, fucking Snork Gunk's probably. I think he's D. I honestly think he's D. He just does not do anything, which is just, like, really good. Alright, how do I feel about this? Leon lower than. That's pretty reasonable. Let's think. Is there anyone in C? I'm pretty confident with this. I'm pretty confident with this. Is there anyone in C who should go to B or go to D? Like, Vinnie and Spike definitely has a place at just dealing damage and being quite solid. Same thing can be said for Snork Gunk and Qi'tara. You know, they all kind of just go in, they do their damage. You know, sometimes they get fucked and die, but, you know, sometimes you have to play very sharp. You have to play very sharp as Qi'tara. Maybe that makes her a little bit worse. I think her damage is still really quite insane if you hit it all. So I will keep her there. Ksenia, maybe D? Like, I don't know. I don't know if she's that good. Like, Derpl, I don't know where to put Derpl. He's really map consistent, I'd say. Like, on Sorona, I feel like he kind of sucks. You know, there's no place where he can, without like a team supporting him, he just kind of sucks on Sorona. On a Gillion, he's okay. I think he's better. Actually, no, he's pretty good on a Gillion. AI Station? I think Derpl sucks on AI Station. Maybe Derpl's a D? Maybe. It's weird because he depends on like your ability to get kills. His turb. Yeah, your ability to get kills is dependent on how shit your opponents are and how often they fuck up or how good your teammates are. So in essence, it's kind of out of your control. Do your opponents run into your traps? Well, you're gonna have an easy game. Do your opponents avoid your traps like the plague, or do they, they remove your traps when no one's near them? Does your teammate have the ability to displace them into your traps or knock them into your traps, or do they just not compliment you? I feel like I'm putting Derpl in D, just because a lot of your success is kind of out of your control, at least in solo queue. I feel like he's way better if you have like a friend or multiple, like you have a party member or two. He's better. But in solo queue, I think he's just too inconsistent because you can't play him on certain maps. He's very weak on certain maps. But when the stars align, I do think Derpl is fucking like a complete monster to deal with. No, again, I just feel like Gnaw just doesn't really have anything spectacular about him that makes him really valuable. His chunk isn't particularly good, he isn't particularly fast. He's just kind of the definition of average. His ability to kill turrets is nice, I've said that. His spit is not great. It's something, but it's not great. I think Raylan's Time Rift definitely makes her worthwhile playing. I feel like Snipe is overrated though, and her all attack is great, so she's probably C. I think maybe Rocket could be D. I think he's just C, just because you can constantly apply. damage pretty easily too and safely, unlike something like Rocco where you can't escape if you get caught out. Like Revengeance, or is it called Revengeance or just called Vengeance? The slowing shit. It doesn't guarantee that you get out, unlike Rocket's just knockback he can put on himself when he shoots the big one. Let's see. Now I'm gonna look at A, see if anyone's worthy of joining Lonestar and S, or going down to B. Frog and Dizzy though. Like man, you can really, really terrorize. Is Dizzy better? Maybe Dizzy's S. Her damage is nutty, and her mobility is better than the whole cast. Best mobility in the game? I think so. Um, but she has a really high potential, higher potential than I think Frog. I don't know. Maybe like is there like a position where Dizzy really struggles? I don't know. Maybe against like I think it's her mobility that could accelerate her into S. The fact that she can chase you down no matter who you are, and she can do a crap ton of damage while she's doing it. Um, yeah, I think Frog, when he exhausts his dash, like he can chase you with Tornado, but unless he has tweeters, like he's not gonna be able to chase you as well as Dizzy can. You know? Like if you miss your dash on somebody, you're kind of fucked. But if you miss a dash on Dizzy, it doesn't really matter because you have two more or three more if you buy the upgrade. Same thing with your clone because you don't need the clone to kill people. You can really just do dash and auto attack, dash, auto attack to kill people. I mean, maybe Frog is a bit more useful. I don't know. I really. Eh, I think you could say like Ted can just melt games. I feel like all the characters here have the potential to just fucking crush a game. Like you can have a good Ted, you can have a good Dizzy, and they can just win you the game. Maybe that's not true about like Smiles. Maybe Smiles is B. Like I think S is the tier where they're outrageously strong. Like you pick this character and you already have a large advantage on pretty much every map. I think A, you have a high advantage. You have like a good advantage against characters below you. Like they have definite areas where they're very powerful, either with just good damage, good burst, displacement, pushing turrets. Yeah, I think his hook is really valuable. Same with Swiggins. Even if they maybe don't win, even if Smiles doesn't win you the game outright, he kinda can. Still have high value with his hook. I think yeah, the thing with Ted is like if you miss your airstrike on somebody, it kind of like you can get dived, and again you can get caught out as Ted. You know, you don't have an escape. I mean, you can maybe kill someone and take someone down with you, but you don't have an escape. If you play your cards right, yeah, you can take someone down with you, but if you get thrown or pushed by Jimmy or hooked or stunned by Swiggins or whatever, or tongued by Leon, you can't really get out as easily. Like Frog can dash, Skolldir can, if he's stuck, he can throw somebody, get that massive speed boost, pounce, charge, bike away, just tank with the shield. Yeah, but I suppose the Smiles, Swiggins, and Ayla don't have that, and they're still powerful. Skolldir, maybe he's a bit worse. I do think throw is very powerful. It's especially with axe throwing. You can really, really displace somebody and fuck them up if you displace them, right? It's kind of dependent on turrets, though. I think you can go oily, but that's a lot harder to oily someone to death. It's not impossible, but it's a lot harder than just hand axe throwing and throw them into your team or a turret or whatever. And you can't always rely on your team to do stuff for you. And so lucky. I think Penny's perfectly fine in A. I don't think she breaks the game. Maybe if you have really high skill on Penny or Skolldir, I think with you have really high skill on these characters, you can bring them up to an S. I think that's just what these characters are capable of. With Skolldir's kind of nuanced movement and Penny's kind of again nuanced combos and stuff. There's like the upgrade where you can pulse really quickly. I forgot what it's called, but you can do that as Penny. Um, what else? I think this is pretty solid. I mean, I don't think I'd change this around too much. Yeah, I think that's it. Um, I guess if you have a disagreement, put it in the comments. Uh, where who should be where, you know? I think I just wanted to make one of these because it's more up to date. There's like, I think there was one other guy who made a tier list, but he was a big time player. He was playing the game for a long time. I think his name was Skolldir or something. I'm like, hell, I want to make one of these too. I don't agree with some of the placements he made. Anyway, and I'm not like the best player in the planet, I suppose. I think that's it.